Welcome to the Last Life Ever podcast. My name is Jeffrey Holst, and that is Jillian Sidoti. Jillian, I'm super excited to be here today. We have a good friend of ours. Who do we have on the show today?
Today, we're going to be interviewing Veronika Childs. I've known Veronika for quite some time, and she recently had a health scare. She's going to tell us all about that. And then I saw this amazing transformation in Veronika. And Jeff, you and I have both been able to experience that. And we thought, we got to talk to this woman. We got to see exactly where her mind was and where it went and where it is now. And we're going to do that right after this.
Help me, my brother, can you lend me a hand as I walk through this land of confusion? If we give to each other, then there's nothing to take. Let's live life for the moment before it slips away.
Hello, Veronika.
Hello. Veronika, I just, before you get started, I wanted to just tell everybody how we met. Veronika and I have a mutual friend, Marissa, who's also been a guest on the show. If you haven't seen the episode with Marissa actually taught us in 8 easy steps how to get a better night's sleep. So check out that episode of the Last Life Ever podcast if you're looking for a better night's sleep. But Marissa also is a yogi, yoga specialist, if you will. And she was hosting yoga lessons. Is that what you call them, I guess, or sessions in her backyard. And the only ones who would show up were Veronika and I. So it'd be myself and Marissa and her husband, John, and Veronika and I. And that's actually how I met Veronika, was at 5 a.m. in the freezing cold out in Marissa's backyard doing yoga. And I just thought that was so cool that Veronika was, my sister in arms with me of getting up super early and doing yoga. But then it started getting really cold and raining, and then we quit. So I don't know what that says about us. But.
So we went back to session. So we had to go to earlier even, and it was really dark and cold.
Yeah.
I feel like the what we've learned is that you really are sisters in arms, because you both quit at the same time. Is exactly what we were talking about right before we came on the show here, right? That when it's cold, you don't like to run, Jillian.
I don't. I don't. And I want to talk about yours and Veronika's ventures with running. But, one of the things, I do hate the cold. Veronika hates the cold. That's why we live in Southern California. But I will tell you, I remember the time where I decided I don't do the cold anymore. And it was one day I was going to go out running again at some ridiculously early hour in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And it started to rain. And I was going through in my mind, okay, how am I going to attack this freezing cold rain and running? And then finally, right in the middle of this thought process of how am I going to handle this, I went, oh my God, I'm an adult. I don't need to run in the rain, in the cold. I'm not training. I'm not an Olympic athlete. I'm not in high school sports. I don't do this for a living. I do not need to do this. I can run at a reasonable hour in reasonable weather, or I can just not run at all. It's up to me. But Veronika, tell us about, what we started this interview with talking about how Jeff and I in particular, because I've known you a little longer, have saw this amazing change in you in terms of how you conducted yourself in your life. Tell us what happened to make you have this change.
A couple of things, actually. And it's really interesting because I was not been, because I'm not anymore, but I was overweight since I was 9 or 8. So pretty much most of my life. And so I always kept telling myself, when I lose weight, that was when like my life was going to start, because that was when I was going to be happy and all this stuff. So I never did anything, and I was very timid and shy and kind of kid in the background, and obviously not anymore. But that was kind of how it went. So I lost like 170 pounds, and I was still the old me. And it just never really clicked for me, even though I'm like, I should be happy. Like, why isn't this happening? And it wasn't until I thought I had cancer that I was like, wait a minute, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, even though it was, you know, a really good prognosis and everything was going to be fine, supposedly, I still in my head was like, oh my God. And so I was like, I'm going to go do stuff between now and when I have to have surgery. I'm going to get in as much fun as I can and make memories with my kids just in case. And, you know, all this stuff, because you never know when you're going under the knife anyway. So we went like kayaking and ATV riding and paddle boarding and all kinds of stuff. Even
so that's really interesting, because, you know, I'm sure a lot of listeners already know this, but I was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 30. And I mean, I wasn't, you know, hiding out like you're describing, right? I wasn't the shy kid in the background, but
Jeff's never been shy.
Yeah, no, I definitely have not. But I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was diagnosed, I didn't know what the prognosis was going to be. Even now, I don't really know for sure, right? But I assume, you know, 10 years, 12 years down the road, I'm probably going to be okay. But what I did was I started going, okay, if I only have, you know, X amount of time to live. And that, by the way, it was September. And I thought to myself, I'm hopeful I'll make it till Christmas, right? So it wasn't a long period of time. It was just a couple of months. And I just went, I'm going to go do stuff. And like, I was exhausted, and, you know, I had all kinds of medical issues that were preventing me from like really just running around and doing whatever. But I did things like go to football games that, you know, just Big Ten stadiums. I got in my head, I wanted to go to all the Big Ten stadiums. So I just, like, every week I went to a different football game in a different state. And I've never stopped in 12 years. I've stopped going to football games every week. Even if I hadn't, coronavirus would have forced that, and the season ending would have forced it. But it really, like, I've ever since then, I've tried to remember, like, you might die. You only live one time. That's what Last Life Ever is all about. And that's why we wanted to talk to you. It's easy for me, right, in a way, because I take a 1-a-day chemotherapy pill, and every day when I take it, I think, if I don't take this, I die. And it gives me that moment, just even if it's only a few seconds a day, to focus on my own mortality. And I think that's what you're describing.
It's absolutely. And even now, it's still like a struggle. Like, I still find myself getting back into my old mentality. Maybe if I, you know, I'm trying to do the reflections every morning, the 3 things I'm grateful for, and 3 things I'm excited about for the day. So that's been helping a lot to kind of get my mind in gear too. But it's still, when you one way your entire life, it's kind of hard to be different, but I'm working on it for sure.
It's got to be a huge battle for you. But I love this stuff that you're doing. So you talk about the reflections every day, and you talk about those on videos on your YouTube channel and Facebook channel, Veronika's Ventures. And you share all these really practical tips in the group too, which, you know, even if you didn't have this health scare, you were just making those videos, we'd want you to come on and talk about all that stuff, right? Because that's fascinating. Because it seems like, you know, starting out this year, you've tried to ramp up, like, even above and beyond where you were 6 months ago. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, I just kind of was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I really have to do this. And so I made myself like a schedule for posting, and what I'm trying to plan at least a couple weeks in advance what I'm doing and have it all ready to go. So I'm not like week of going, oh God, like, what am I doing this week? So that's kind of just been my own dedication to actually being more organized in general. But yeah.
So I want to back up for a second. Let's talk about this. You had this huge life change. You lost 170 pounds. That's a lot. That's insanity. That's a whole person. It's more than a whole person, right? So you lose this.
It's more than some people. It's not more than me.
It's more than me.
Yeah, I know. Jillian, I know. You had to rub it in. Thanks.
I hope I'm smart.
Consequently, it is also more than Veronika, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
More than you, yourself, right? Yeah.
Right.
So that's a huge life change. I mean, did you? And it's funny because you always waited for that moment, and then that moment came, and the change that you were looking for didn't come. But there must have been a lot of other changes with that, like more energy, like what, explain that, explain the loss of 170 pounds.
It was pretty trippy, actually.
Yeah, really.
Now, like, I look at myself in the mirror and I don't see myself thin. I can see it when I'm on camera. It's weird, but like I can see here. But like if I were to put on clothes and stand in front of the mirror, I wouldn't see it. I see myself thinner, but not thin. It's weird. So it's still like a struggle, but the amount of energy that I have, or even just getting up from the floor to stand up, it's like way different.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can jump up. So we went ATV riding. I was driving down this hill, and all of a sudden I almost tipped it, and I was like, and I remembered what Adrian used to say, zip it into the middle, you know, like she's all.
Oh.
And I didn't. I kept it from tipping over. I'm like, oh my god, I just totally did that. Like,
yeah, like there's things you can do now that you couldn't do previously. So then, how soon after the weight loss did you get this scare, if you will? And it was breast cancer, right?
So it started off with breast cancer, and it was actually when I was still very early in my weight loss a couple years ago. I had a breast cancer scare, and that's when they did genetic testing, because that was another one that they were like 99.9% cancer, but like even less, because they could see it and it looked like all the telltale attributes of cancer. And so that was intense. And at that point, they said, you know, they did the genetic testing, and ovarian cancer and all that stuff was really high probability of it, and that's really hard to detect. So at that time I had surgery, like a complete hysterectomy and all that, because I was like, I'm not having kids anyway, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
then,
Yeah.
Right. And it made a lot of other things a lot easier. But anyway, then, you know, we were talking about doing the mastectomy, and I was like, that's a little scary. But also at the time, I knew I really, really still wanted to lose weight. And I thought, if I have a mastectomy and a reconstruction, and then I lose 170 pounds, I'm not going to look proportional.
Yeah.
And that was more vanity than anything else. But when my friend Chanda, who I've talked about on my channel, when her cancer came back, and it came back really quick and really, really bad, then I was like, you know, forget vanity, forget everything. And plus I'm at my goal weight anyway, I'm just going to do it. And so.
Oh, so that's interesting. So you didn't only have your issues, and I followed your adventures with your friend Chanda as well, but tell our audience about her and how that influenced your new thought process.
Yeah. So at that point I was going to do the mastectomy, because in November, not this past November, but the November before that, it was her 50th birthday. Mm-hmm. Actually, we had done this whole kind challenge before her 50th birthday. She wanted 50 acts of kindness, and we did this whole page and everything. And she was having chest pain on her 50th birthday, went to the ER, and they found out that the cancer was back, and it was in the bone and in the tissue, all in her chest. And so that was her birthday.
Wow.
And so at that point, when I found that out, I was like, you know, I really have to get this done. And that's when I scheduled an appointment again with the surgeon who was going to do the mastectomy. Mm-hmm. Then I got in a car accident the day after Christmas. So that appointment had to get pushed back because I couldn't drive to go see that doctor. And so it got pushed back again when COVID started. I didn't end up going to my pre-op until like the beginning of May. And when they were doing my pre-op for that, that's when she found the lump in my thyroid. They do the whole palpitation thing, you know, usually. And also she made me swallow like 15 times. I'm like, I can't, you're pushing on my throat. But yeah, so that's,
wow.
They did an ultrasound right then and there.
Wow. So they were just like over the top thinking like, oh, this woman's got cancer. Wow. So you started doing all these super fun things and hanging out with your kids more, just getting a new lease on life, doing all these adventures. Then you're like, oh, I don't have cancer. I'll have the surgery. But you've kept up the adventureness, what's the word, Jeff, that I'm looking for?
Adventureness.
The adventureness. Is that a word?
It's adventure-I.
Adventurousness.
Adventurousness. Awesome. So you kept.
So what I think you're trying to say, Jillian, is she stayed adventurous.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
state of interest.
That's good.
And we know this because one thing that the time that Veronika and I actually met in person, we've talked many times now, but was when we were in Las Vegas last fall, and Veronika and Jillian decided to go on a zip line across the strip.
And I didn't. That's the funny thing, Jeff. I didn't want to do it at all. I was like, I
know.
really don't want to do this. But, you know, my kid wanted to do it and Veronika was doing it. And I was like, I can't let Veronika show me up. I got to go with her. So, and she and her husband, Michael, were just like, yeah, we're doing this. This is happening. And I was a little terrified. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, this is the great thing. Like this whole lease on life, Veronika has other people, you know, trying.
It's forcing Jillian to do a zip line is what it's doing.
I know.
So just make sure you take video when you and Jillian jump out of a plane.
No, Veronika did that.
But she's gonna do it again, right? With you.
I'm gonna go not tandem. I'm gonna go solo.
Solo? Are you sure you don't want to just tandem Jillian? Like you can let her ride on your back?
Yeah. Do you want to hear you want to have your eardrum busted by all the screaming I'm going to be doing? No, okay.
I think I would jump out of a plane just to be able to see Jillian's face when she jumped out of a plane. I would jump out backwards and then watch you from below.
I'm not interested. All right, so what's the plan going forward, Veronika? We see all these videos you're doing, and it just looks like now you're setting new goals for yourself. What tips can you offer for somebody who's gone through something, you know, similar of, you know, having
I got to interrupt, Jillian. The question is not what tips can you offer someone who's gone through someone similar, but the real question, and this is from my own personal experience, is how do you get people who haven't gone through something similar to understand how important it is to live now?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because this whole Veronika Ventures thing, it wasn't even planned. What happened is I recorded a video for my family the day of saying like, hey, I've been having all this fun. And just in case something happens, like, bye, like, I love you all. And also, while I've been having all this fun, I've discovered I like having fun, and I've discovered myself. And I was super nervous going into surgery. And I had already had 3 previous pretty major surgeries. Never was nervous before at all. I'd be like, oh, whatever happens, I'll be fine. And this time I was like terrified, and I was talking to Mike, my husband, and saying like, I don't know why I'm so scared. He's like, because you finally like have something to live for. You want to live, like you care. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. And so when I woke up, I remember they told me at that point that the frozen section biopsy, they had come back negative. And I was like in shock, because until that point we thought like, not only is it cancer, but because the first biopsy that they did was a fine needle aspiration, that came back negative. And so the kind of cancer that it could have been at that point was much more drastic than the one that they had originally thought. So when the frozen section biopsy that they did on the surgery table, basically during the operation, came back negative, I was like, first of all, in shock. I was still kind of waking up from surgery, and I just looked at Mike and said, but can we still go on adventures? Like, I know I'm not dying, but can we still have fun? Like, and so he was like, yes, of course. And then obviously all the pathology came back like 5-10 days later, and it came back negative, which was a shocker to basically everybody, including my surgeon, because she was, she said, you know, I've done 1,500 of these. It's cancer. This is just, you know, formality for the insurance, basically.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's great though. Actually, kind of makes me jealous in a way. Like, I kind of wish that happened to me. They're like, oh, you definitely have cancer. Oh, just kidding, you don't. And then I would have gotten the benefit of the perspective without having to like live it, right? But no, but it's terrible. Like, I don't like the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life is think that I was going to die. And by the way, not because I was afraid of dying, but because I felt so bad for the people that would be missing me. Like my wife, I felt terrible for her. Like, she was worried about it. I actually wasn't worried. I was like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. Like, didn't want to die. I wasn't like, oh yeah, no big deal. But I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I have a good life. And like, if I can stay alive, that'd be good. But I'll be okay. You know, I'm gonna be fine.
It'd be cool if I could, you know, live with.
A little bit, just a little bit longer. And you know, I mean, this is ironic coming from me because I tell people all the time that I fully intend to live to the energy death of the universe, you know, some millions of years in the future. And I do intend to do that if I can. But the key is if I can't, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. Like I have to do something now. So, and that's how I started doing these videos, was just basically telling people like, hey, I'm fine. Like every time I would wake up in the morning, because people were messaging me all the time to see how I was. I have a giant extended family. And so I was basically doing those videos and then doing videos from our adventures. And then I kind of found out that I really liked it. And so that's how the whole YouTube channel started, and the Facebook page, and just kind of me doing my thing.
I'll tell you, I'm actually kind of jealous at how good you are at making videos, because your videos are way better than mine, and I've been doing it way longer than you. like I was just uploading one of my old-fashioned real estate shows just yesterday, and I was like, the video's okay. And we have like a camera guy doing it and editing it for us and stuff. And yours are still better than mine. No offense, Cameron, if you're watching. but yeah, I mean, so okay, I get that. So you want to do adventures. I mean, I like adventure, right? You know, climbing mountains and, you know, going to different places and stuff. But then you agreed or maybe pressured me, like Jillian, you guys are bad influence on me, getting me to run. Jillian got me pressured into running a half marathon, and Veronika pressured me into running a 5K. So what's up with that? Like, why the running thing? Like, what's that about?
You know, it's really all about being healthy. I've kind of been doing yoga for a while now. After Jillian and I quit the other thing, you know, it was a while before I picked it up again. But I really like it just because of the strength that it offers me pretty much throughout, and without having to really get really intense about bodybuilding and all this stuff, because that's not me.
Yeah.
And so that started, but then I'm like, I would still like, you know, run to the corner. I'd be like, you know, like my lungs were not there. Had the lung capacity of a 2-year-old.
I've seen you run before. When we were in Vegas, you ran a good couple of miles, actually. So
yeah, that was intense. And then I was coughing for like 3 days straight, and finally went to the doctor and found out I had asthma. But
I assumed the reason you were coughing for like 3 days straight is that as soon as we got done running in the dry desert air, we went and got drunk.
We did. We totally did. That was one of the hottest 5Ks I've ever run. We were running, you know, we were supposed to start like an hour earlier, and now we were like in the blazing sun in the middle of like truly like there's donkeys and cacti all around us. We run, and then we immediately went to a restaurant and downed a bunch of mimosas.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, just to be clear, later, and maybe we'll even stick this at the end of the video on the YouTube video version of this, but later we'll release in the group the video of Veronika and Jillian running, which if we were really on top of our game, we would have released as a promo to this interview of Veronika instead of after the fact. But
yeah, real good. We're great.
We're right on top of it. But we have a really nice edited video, which I think might even rival the work that Veronika does. So,
so Veronika, I've also noticed though, this has evolved from just doing adventures, like trying new things and having a zest for life, because you seem to do, and this is why I want everybody to follow Veronika's pages, because she, on her pages, Veronika Ventures, you can find her on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. She's talking about things that are so useful in your day-to-day life. Like, it's not just evolved from like, I'm going to try whatever new things I can try, but also organizing your life in a way, because another thing you found yourself in the midst of now is like lots of us, homeschooling. Right. So now you have to manage whatever you were managing before in your life, along with this homeschooling. And so you've been doing these like super useful videos on like things you're learning about goal setting and organizing your day and things like that. So tell us what are some of the best things you found in this new journey of self-improvement?
You know, the very first thing that I found that was actually probably the most helpful was setting like that 15-minute timer of focus, because that was the thing that I was struggling with the most. Before I started Veronika's Ventures, I was still a stay-at-home mom and managed the household. and I have 3 kids, which is enough, and to, you know, drive anybody crazy. But then we took on the homeschooling, and then I still wanted to do my thing, and I found that I was having a hard time balancing everything and still making sure that like my life ran smoothly. It seemed like I was always neglecting one thing or the other. And so I was like, I have got to get on track. And so when I started trying to balance everything, I'm like, I don't have enough time for everything. And I'm like, wait, it's not that I don't have enough time. It's that I'm not focusing properly, because I'd start one thing, then my kids would ask me a question and I start doing that. And on my way there, I noticed that the laundry wasn't done, and I start doing that. And I'm like, okay, focus. And so I started going like, okay, I'm doing this thing. This is what I'm doing. Set a 15-minute timer, because my kids can wait for 15 minutes for just about anything. And then they can wait. I can just be like, my timer's not up. And then I have a notepad next to me, because total like ADHD, like I'm constantly thinking about something else. And so every time something comes up, I write it down so that I don't forget it, but then I can stay focused with what I'm doing. And wow, that made a big difference.
That sounds amazing, actually.
Do you know how many people could use that one tip right there? I'm going to employ that. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes. Now I'm totally focused on this show for the next 15 minutes.
No. And while she was saying that, I was totally distracted, and I felt really bad about it. So, and I apologize for that, because I was doing something really dumb, and I was looking up jokes because I forgot to get a joke for after the show. And it turns out if you Google jokes about Veronika, you don't come up with anything funny. But seriously, like one thing that I love, like, and you know, the videos that you're doing are great because they're like short and to the point, and they're like, this is something I'm incorporating into my life, or this is something I'm trying. What I love about it is, well, one, you're sharing it everywhere, which is great, because I think that people need to know this stuff. I mean, one of the things that Jillian and I talk about all the time, and we probably should talk about on the show more, honestly, is the reason we do this. And the reason we do it is we want to help people. And that's what I love about what you're doing, is it's obvious that you're trying to help people, because, you know, you could do the 15 minutes of focus. Right. And just not tell anyone. It doesn't, you know, I mean, you don't have to tell people about it. You don't have to make a video about it, but you're doing it because you know this, hey, this worked for me. And frankly, I think if you tried something that didn't work, you should make a video about that and be like, this was terrible. This is a bad idea. Somebody told me to try 17 minutes of focus, and that was just too much.
Somebody told me I should try wasabi ice cream, and it was disgusting.
So speaking of wasabi, completely off topic, but I had this ahi tuna on a bed of wasabi slaw the other day. That was so amazing. Whoever thought of making wasabi coleslaw? But I'm telling you right now, it's amazing.
So what is it? It must be just like a mayonnaise with wasabi in it, and then
I think so. Yeah, and then cabbage and carrots. Yeah.
Wow,
absolutely.
I'm gonna make that.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a recipe for it somewhere, like rather than just gas. But it was amazing, and you know, it complemented the ahi tuna really, really well.
Nice.
It had a little bit of a vinegar base too. It wasn't just like a straight mayo slaw. So
Veronika, come on over. We'll make some slaw. I'd invite you, Jeff, but you're kind of far.
I mean, you can come to Chattanooga and I'll just buy you some slaw at the place I got it at. And then you won't have to make it. Like, it's right down the street. And since restaurants are open here, we could even do it in person.
I seem to remember a while ago, Jillian, that you said you would play battle shots with me. I could come over, we could do that and make slaw.
All right. How about in 25 days? Because we're in the middle of a kind morning challenge now. And I only have 25 more days to go where I can break my vow of chastity from alcohol.
It's alcohol. You're gonna give up your alcohol virginity. Your second alcohol virginity.
It's like my 5th or 6th.
Hey, listen, I quit drinking alcohol at least most nights. But I actually, you know, I started my 40-day non-alcohol drinking on the 3rd of January, 7 full days before you. So technically speaking, Veronika and I can drink over at the place by me even sooner than you can drink. So you could be our designated driver and you could eat all the slaw you wanted while Veronika and I got drunk.
Sounds like a plan. Well, listen, Veronika, this was super fun. And we got to talk about how incorporating some of your Veronika Ventures videos into Last Life.
I would
so great.
Yes, I would love, I was thinking that exact same thing. I would love it if you once in a while would just give us like, you took a little piece of one of our videos, our lives, and put it in one of your videos, which I thought was great. And you're welcome to do that anytime, little chunks of our videos. I have no issue with that. But it would be great if you're cutting something and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And you just said to us here, you can throw this into one of your videos sometime, and we'll just do that. Like, we'll just we can do a reaction video to a Veronika video. We'll do Veronika's Ventures reactions. Or we could do like just like a little, intermission in the middle of a show. If we're having a boring guest, we can be like, "Oh, we've got to go to break. We're going to play this video that Veronika gave us."
Oh dear God, please don't go to intermission.
We don't have a video teed up, so even though this is the most boring episode we've ever done, you're safe. It's not really. I'm just joking.
What's funny is actually Last Life Ever is why I started making those little tidbits, because it started back last time when we were doing the morning challenge, and I was making those videos about the miracle morning.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and that was this summer, right, when we were doing the first Kind Morning challenge.
Right, exactly.
Are you doing Kind Morning with us right now as well?
I am.
Great.
Awesome.
Great. What are you working on? So for people that don't remember, Kind Morning is K, 1 random act of kindness a day, I, 40 minutes of investing in yourself, and then N and D for no distractions or no drinking. Well, look at that. We have banners for this stuff.
Yeah.
So are you doing the no drinking?
The morning routine.
Yeah, I didn't get to it because you distracted me with banners. So Veronika, are you doing no drinking or just doing a no distractions period?
So when we started this, I gave myself a little grace on that, because usually if I tell myself no anything, then my mind's like, we totally have to do that.
Oh, fair, yeah.
I told myself no drinking during the week, so I'm doing the weekends off, and then
perfect.
I have to move stuff around. I just basically 2 days a week.
Yeah, so I love that, because the thing is, the whole point why Jillian and I created Kind Morning was because we wanted something that was attainable and would still help people get better at stuff. Like better at life, because that's really what it's about. Like, if you're kind to people, that makes you a better person. If you invest in yourself, it makes you a better person. And if you get rid of some distractions in your life, it makes you a better person. And then if you do the morning routine on top of that, it's like a game changer. We've had such great results, and we've had a couple of people that have had like really big breakthroughs in a 40-day period doing Kind Morning. So I love it. And I would encourage everyone to start today, start next week. Doesn't matter. Just pick a time, do a Kind Morning, or wait till the next time we do it together, but really don't wait. Just do it.
Yeah. Veronika, what last words can you give to our viewers on, if they want to have a breakthrough like you did without having the scare to go along with it? What's the first step to getting a new lease on life?
I think the very first thing is to kind of find out what you're passionate about, because my new lease on life, I'm realizing, is not so much about the adventures. It's about finding the passion in making the videos. And then the adventures are kind of the topping on the cake. And it all was kind of by happenstance that, COVID happened and everything shut down, and I wasn't able to do as many adventures, especially since once I started having surgeries, I was recovering. So I also couldn't go on like outdoor adventures as much. And so I started making these videos like my Dear Diary moments of the videos and stuff, and crying on camera or whatever. We don't have to talk about that.
Actually, that first one when you were crying on camera and apologizing for crying on camera, that was maybe my favorite video you've ever done. So. Oh,
thank you. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was hard, because I think that was when I found out that I didn't have cancer, and I felt guilty about it. I felt guilty because so many people were worried about me. And then also because my friend who does have cancer is still battling that. And I was just like, why me? Like, because I was certain that I had it. But
yeah, there's some serious randomness to life. And I mean, to me, the trick is just to like play the cards you're dealt. I know it's cliched, but you gotta try to find positive in whatever you're doing. And that's one of the things that you're really good at now. You're doing that every day, the 3 positives, right?
Right, exactly. That's one of my goals for this year. One of my habit goals for this year is to make sure I do that morning routine, and that's part of it. But once I found my passion, everything else kind of fell into place. And it's an ever-evolving process. You guys get messages from me in the middle of the night because I'm like, I just had this idea. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great though. It makes me super happy just to see you like dreaming things, even if you never do like 90% of the stuff, like just the idea that that's the first step to finding your life's purpose. Jillian and I have a whole book about this, which people can check out. But the very first step is really just like start thinking about what stuff might be your life's purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you don't do that, then you're never going to get there.
No, I read that book. It helped me eventually like kind of dial down at the core of what I like doing, which was of course making the videos, and everything else is still falling into place. But if I could challenge anybody to do anything, is whatever your passion is, there is your purpose. You just have to find a way to make that work for you. And so, if you really liked kids, I mean, there's so many things that you could do. And as long as you're following your passion and kind of just going with it, I think the whole world would be a better place if everybody did that, because that means that's kind of like what you're created for. You have that passion for a reason. You have that drive in you for a reason, because that's what you are good at and that's where your heart is. And if everyone followed their heart, I think everything else would fall into place.
I feel like we need to just stop there, like just be done, because there's nothing else to be said on the topic. That's exactly right. I 100% agree with you. And I'm super happy to have you on to share that perspective. Is there anything else? I know we already asked this once, but is there anything else?
You just said, let's end there.
I did, but I want to, that's because Veronica's amazing and I don't want to let her go.
Oh, well, listen, but I am going to let Veronika go because she said it all. She said it all. She told us exactly what to do. It's find purpose. And it was almost like she was selling our book, our free book.
Yes, thank you for getting us lots of zero monies for people downloading our book, which, by the way, if people want to download the book, we will put the link to the book in the show notes, and we will also post it in the comments in the group as soon as we're done with this video.
Yeah, and it's how to find your life's purpose. We did not even ask Veronika to do that, but if you need some help with finding your life's purpose, first of all, go to Veronika Ventures. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and also you can download mine and Jeff's free book, How to Find Your Life's Purpose. It's free. So why wouldn't you?
And you know what I feel bad about is that we were so terribly unprepared that we didn't even have like an image of the book to share. Like that just seems like
well, I didn't know she was going to give that answer. I had no intention.
I've read the book. It's a good book.
Yes, well,
thank you.
It is a good book.
He's got it.
I found it. Yay. It turns out that I have this on my very computer. So this is the book. Everyone should read it. It's free. Yeah. That's the reason. And by the way, I'm super happy to hear you read it. We've had a couple of other people tell us that they read it and it made a big difference for them. But I know for sure it made a big difference for Jillian and I, because in the process of putting this book together, we were like, this is so good. And like, we were researching and talking to different people and all this stuff. And we're just like, man, this is like great. And then Jillian would say something and I'd be like, yeah, that's exactly right. We have to put that in there. And then she would say, I would say something, and it was a really great experience. And I wish I could take credit for it all because it's that good, and it was mostly Jelly Jill.
Yeah, and it's free.
Can't when I said it was mostly you, you're like, yeah, it was.
No, I didn't say. Oh, well, okay, I take that back. Anyhow, everybody, stick around. Veronika, thank you so much for being with us today, and Jeff and I will be right back to wrap up the show.
Go. Hey, welcome back, Jillian.
Sorry, I was just Googling a joke.
Yeah. So listen, I gotta say something, and this is like really important. Okay, Veronika's gone, so now I can say it for real. She's probably watching on Facebook, though. No, let's be honest. I thought she was gonna hang out in the backstage and watch us, but guess not. Yeah, I guess not. But anyway, so wow, like I like Veronika even more than I thought I liked her now. Oh, she came back. Oh, she can hear us. She's returned. So yeah, I mean, seriously, on a couple of notes. Like one, I love that she read our book. I love that our kind morning made a difference for her. Like basically, she has proof that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like we're following our own life purpose. And that's so freaking amazing. It makes me so happy. You have no idea.
Me too. I mean, honestly, but one of the reasons why I had her on the show and said, I think we should be interviewing Veronika, is because she's living out the exact.
Because she's actually doing better at living her last life ever than we are.
I know, which I kind of feel bad about.
Like I ought to just kick myself off the show and let her be your show.
Yeah. We'll just step back and let Veronika take over.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Jeff. And I'm going to add him back to the stream. You were so ridiculous.
I was adding myself back to the stream and you unadded me.
Anyhow, but that exactly. And that's why I thought it was important to talk to her, to show, how living out your purpose is so important, and just, going for it in life is.
No, it's so great. I mean, and I think what she's saying about, just figuring it out and like just following your passion. I mean, that's something I say all the time. And I think I haven't ever been able to put it in words quite as good as that. I always look at it this way. And this is something I say all the time to people like offline, is that like everyone has something inside of them that they were created for, that's burning inside of them. And like, when you like start pursuing whatever that is, you make the whole world better. Like not just your own life, but like you just make everything better. And I say that all the time. Like,
there's my alarm, my 15-minute alarm. So I'm done
focused on the show. You
can now stop.
So, but the point is, right? Like you get this, like, you follow your passion, you're going to make your own life better, sure, but you're also going to make your family's life better, because you're going to be happier and they're going to be happy for you, people that you care about, but it's going to be everyone around you, because you're just pouring forth like this goodness into the world. And that's really what everything Last Life Ever is about. And that's why Veronika is so awesome.
Yeah.
Because she's really doing those things and proving it. And if we only ever made a positive influence on one person in the world, it would be worth doing this. And so we've already proven that we're a success, Jillian. We can just quit now. I'm not quitting, because there's more people in the world that we haven't reached yet. And so with that, Jillian, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
No, I'm not going to share a joke today. I want to hear your joke. I always share a joke, and then sometimes you don't have one. So it's your turn.
I was Googling one during the show. Like
you don't even have one.
I got to finish reading it to make sure it's appropriate. Hold on.
How do you know if a vampire is sick?
I don't know.
By how much he is coughing.
Okay. All right. So that's ridiculous, of course. But that is kind of the goal of this sort of thing. So I'm gonna tell you an even more ridiculous joke. Okay. And it's not the one I just read, which was way too long, and I gave up on it. Why? This is by the way, this is like my little sister Kate's. You know Kate, actually. So Kate's, it's when she was like 4, it was her favorite joke. That's how ridiculous it is. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
It goes like this. Why did the person throw a stick of butter out the window?
He or she wanted to see a butterfly.
That's exactly correct. I mean,
why am I laughing at that?
I don't know. It's so funny. Bad. No, it's not funny. It also works with clocks, by the way.
Time fly.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, totally it wasn't funny.
We've reached new lows. So with
wait, I got one more joke. Actually, I'm going to tell one more joke. And this one's even worse. This is one that my sister Kate made up when she was that age, and that was, what do you call a macho potato?
I don't know what.
Spudley.
See, you should have ended on the last one. All right.
We had half our audience dropped off when I told that last
I know. All right. Everybody, thank you so much. I'm Jillian Sidoti. That is Jeffrey Hulse. And we're here to remind you to live the best version of your last life ever.
Never gonna take my freedom. You're never gonna take my pride. Just live for the moment. Live for the moment tonight.
still live. You're supposed to end the show.
Bye, everyone.